right, we are now live. We'll go ahead and get started. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to all of our parents and attendees to tonight's installment of the Parent Town Hall series. I am Charles Jefferson. I'm the Director of Marketing and Communications here at Holy Trinity. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over now to our president, Mr. Tim Bopp, who is going to lead us in a welcome and a prayer.
Thanks, Charles. Good evening, Holy Trinity family. We're excited to be with you tonight, and we thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to be part of our town hall meeting. There's always great hope when you discuss a new beginning. We have a new year, a new semester, so we're trying to get across a new message. Let's get excited about all the opportunities that lie ahead for our students. In turn, we are attempting to bring students together more in a responsible and safe manner, and to open some doors for meaningful discussion, healthy activities, and fun. Remember that word fun? Well, it's coming back in spades to Holy Trinity. We'll talk about some of these plans tonight, but let's start as we do every day at Holy Trinity by putting ourselves in the presence of God as we pray. By the power of your holy cross, transform our hearts and minds, that in your name we may transform the world. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Heavenly Father, I am your servant. I come before you today in need of hope. I need hope for calm and joyful future. I need hope for love and kindness. I pray for peace and safety. Some say that the sky is at its darkest just before the light. I pray that this is true, for today seems stormy. I am in need of your light, Lord, in every way. I pray to be filled with your light. Help me to walk with your light and live my life in faith and service. In your name, I pray, amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Tonight gives us another opportunity to come together and communicate about Holy Trinity and your child's education. We greatly value the time that we have together tonight, and our agenda is chock full of important information. So I'm going to step away so that everybody can start their meeting. Just one thing I wanted to mention. If you've checked out the news and social media, we have air purifiers in the school, in each classroom and every office space. So together with the ceiling fans, we have created a real healthy airspace environment for all students, faculty, and staff. I want you to know that safety is always the utmost of importance in our mind. And every day we endeavor to make sure that the Holy Trinity community, our building, is safe for everyone. So we have much to talk about tonight. Let's move on to the next person. Charles, passing it back to you.
Thank you so much, President Bopp, for that welcome and that opening prayer. We do have a full agenda tonight, so we'll get right to it. Just a couple of housekeeping things, parents. For those of you that have been here with us before, please feel free to ask your questions via the Q&A chat or the chat box. We'll be reviewing those questions, and we'll be sort of jumping in and answering those questions as we go along. Without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Taylor Moore, who is our athletics director. I know many of you have questions about spring sports and what's happening with our sports program. So I'll turn it over to Mr. Moore, and he will give you an update on what's going on with sports and athletics.
Thank you, Charles. Good evening, parents, staff, everybody. Hope everybody's having a great day. Stayed warm with all the snow going on. Hope you was able to stay warm. So briefly, just want to give you an update of the sports that's going on this semester. It looks like we will be having a sports season, luckily. They had a meeting today, actually, basically notifying everyone that boys and girls basketball has been approved for the season. So they are underway starting Monday. They need 7 practice days before they can start a game. So that will be the first sport underway, will be boys and girls basketball. followed with boys soccer, which will begin March 1st through April 17th. There will be no state playoffs for majority of these sports. So we will be looking at just a conference schedule. You might have a few conference games, but right now it's looking at just conference schedule for all sports. So like I said, boys and girls basketball will be starting right now. Boys soccer will be starting March 1st, ending April 17th. Girls volleyball will be starting March 8th, ending April 24th. Boys baseball will be starting April 5th, ending June 19th. Girls soccer will be ending April 5th, starting April 5th, ending June 19th. Same with boys volleyball, April 5th through June 19th. So that is the sports schedule for right now as far as the season start and ending dates. For basketball, we are still trying to get the conference schedule together because we just got this news today at around 2 p.m. this afternoon. So we will have a conference schedule put together by next week. I'm sure us as a conference will be meeting this Friday. If not, for sure, our weekly Tuesday meetings. So I will have more information as far as scheduling next week. There will be no spectators for any of our games, any of our home games. This is a decision that IHSA has come up with, and also this is a decision that Holy Trinity we have come up with. You know, just for the safety of everyone involved, we just want to limit the number of people in the building. So we will have no spectators. Only people that will be allowed in the games will be the players and the coaches. So I'm sorry, parents, but you know, with COVID and everything going on, we will be limiting the spectators for right now. Um, and as far as other sports, we haven't had any update. Dance and cheer has been approved as well. So we were in the talks to see if we're going to have a dance team this year. I know previously we've had. I need to see what the numbers is looking like as far as volunteers and people willing to participate. But I would love to have a dance team for the girls as well and the guys. But yeah, so if there's any other questions, also Chicago is currently tier 1, which is great, which is one step away from phase 4. Phase 4 means once we reach phase 4, that means we've been approved for all sports across the board. So we are at tier 1, which is one step away from phase 4. So we are moving in the right direction.
All right. We do have several questions that have come in for you, Mr. Moore, and I think you may have answered some of these already. But a couple of people have asked about track this year. Will that resume? And also girls softball. I know you had already said that there are some sports that we just don't have an answer for at this time. I don't know if you have anything to add to those.
Yes, so sorry. Softball is taking place at the same season as boys baseball, which will be April 5th through June 19th. And track will be that same season. Boys and girls track and field is April 5th through June 19th. So majority of those sports are all in the same season. So baseball, soccer, softball, track, and boys volleyball will all be taking place in the same time, April 5th through June 19th.
And one other question, since we won't have spectators in the building for home games, is there a possibility for those, and this may not be a question for you, Mr. Moore, but you know, just generally speaking, is there an opportunity to have these games streamed via Zoom or YouTube? I don't know. Oh,
I would love to come up with a way where we can record all of the games for parents to be able to watch, students to be able to watch, and also for our athletes for college recruitment. I feel like it's very important that we have film on all of these students just in case, you know, the colleges want to see them in action. We have film for them. So, you know, I would love to record every game if needed. We will come up with that. I don't have the answers for that right now, but that is something that we will definitely work towards. Definitely.
While we're still on the subject of sports, I just don't want these questions to get lost as we go further on, but we have some questions about e-learning students. Are sports open to e-learning students? And if so, how can they sign up?
Yes, so sports is open for everyone in the student body. So if you are a student at Holy Trinity, you are allowed to play sports. The only thing that will prevent you from playing sports will be your grades. You know, like I said, I tell people before you're an athlete, you're a student. You're a student first, athlete second. So if you want to participate in any sport, you need to make sure that your grades is up to par, whether you're an e-learner or you're 100% in the building. You need to make sure your grades is up to par. And if your grades are up to par, then we would love to have you out on any sports team that you can make. The only problem with that would be practices. I know sometimes a lot of these sports will be practicing on a daily basis, and sometimes they might start right after school or shortly after school. So if you are, you know, a student that is 100% e-learning, being able to make it to practice on time might be an issue. But other than that, there is no restrictions as far as having to be in the building to participate for sports.
There is a recommendation that if you are an e-learning student and you are interested in playing sports, that you should heavily consider becoming hybrid and/or in the building 100% of the time. Because I know some parents might have an issue with, I don't think it's safe enough for you to be in the building, but I somehow feel safe enough for you to play sports. That conversation may have to happen with some students and some parents.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. Moore, for that information. If there are other questions, feel free to put those in the chat. And then when we get to the Q&A session toward the end of the town hall tonight, we can revisit some of those.
I didn't mean to cut you off briefly while it's on my mind. We also have a fan cloth store that's up and running for faculty, staff, parents. You know, if you want school merchandise, school gear, you know, check out the link, the website, support the school. But that's all. That was it. I just wanted to throw that out there. Sorry.
Absolutely. Thanks for that plug. And I'll put the link to that in the chat box very shortly. Do they have T-shirts for women?
Yes, they have everything. The catalog has over 40 items: T-shirts, sweaters, jumpsuits, bags, masks, like sport tank tops for women and men. So it's a lot of nice stuff. Adidas, Nike. It's a lot of nice stuff. Definitely, I ordered me a lot of stuff. I spent a little bit more than I should have, but it's okay.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Moore, for that information. We're going to go ahead and move right along in our agenda tonight. I want to introduce our United Stand counselors. They support our school counselors here with serving our students. So we have Ms. Kayla Harris. Go ahead and wave to the camera. Andrew Vall, Mr. Andrew Vall. And then we have Miss Madison Boblett. And I apologize if I mispronounced your name. Charge it to my head, not to my heart. And so they're going to talk for a few minutes about what they do and sort of give you some information about some of the services that they offer. So I'll just pass it over to you all and take it away.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Hi, HT fam. It's nice to be here virtually. So I'm Kayla Harris. I'm a site supervisor representing United Stand Counseling Center. I'm here with my team, as you saw, Andrew and Madison. Basically just wanted to say hi, introduce ourselves. Some of you may be familiar with our programs, some of you might not. And so we just want to make sure that we're sort of putting our face out there for you guys to see. So I work with United Stand Counseling Center. And so basically what that means is we are an agency that puts counseling services and academic coaching services in schools, specifically Catholic schools in the Chicago area, under Title I funding. And so that can look like a couple different things. Again, that's like academic coaching. So helping your students with anything they're struggling with academically, whether it's, you know, time management skills or just sort of executive functioning type things, or, we can also work with some social emotional stuff if there are, other life things getting in the way of them, being successful here at school. We're here to provide that as well. Specifically at Holy Trinity, my team and I are only here on Mondays and Fridays. And so, so we also kind of work pretty well closely with the counseling center to kind of coordinate care and, just stay on top of the cases that we have there at HT. And what else was I going to say about that? If you had any questions about our services after today, feel free to email myself. I'll provide my email here in a minute, or the counseling center staff, Maggie and Kelly. They were always in contact. So like, if you have any questions, just please feel free to ask. What else? I guess that's pretty much it. But once again, so I'm Kayla. I'm an associate marriage and family therapist here at HT, but I am also the site supervisor. So if you have any, if any students are interested in starting services with us, or if parents, if you guys have any questions, or even teachers, if you guys are on here and you have questions, please feel free to route them over to me. I now have a Holy Trinity email, which is exciting. So it's K Harris. I can throw it in the chat too, if that's easier. And then at the Holy Trinity domain. And so then after that, I guess if Madison and Andrew, if one of you wants to say hi.
Hi, everyone. It's so great to be here and like finally put my face to my name. I know I've probably been emailing with a lot of the staff and parents. So yeah, I'm Madison. I work with Kayla and Andrew. I'm currently a student in training for my PsyD in clinical psychology. So I work through United Stand through my program and my training years. So yeah, like Kayla said, if you have any questions, like we're here to support your children and students with like anything that they possibly need this year. I know it's been a very challenging year. So yeah, we're here for like literally anything. So yeah, just reach out.
And I'll briefly introduce myself as well and echo what Madison and Kayla have already said. So yes, my name is Andrew. I'm also one of the United Stand counselors. And I also am at United Stand for part of my doctoral training in a clinical PsyD program like Madison. And this is my second year at United Stand, first year at Holy Trinity. So I'm very happy to be a part of the team. And yes, if any students, staff, faculty have any questions that they'd like to ask us, please feel free. We're also moving through in-person and teletherapy as well. So we're available via email and work very closely with the Wellness Center. So thank you for having us.
I'm actually going to stick around. So if any of you have any questions, you can just shoot them over to me, I think in the chat or whatever. Or I think my email was provided, so feel free to do that as well.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for being here and for taking the time out to speak with our parents. I know that's always greatly appreciated. Of course, as a reminder, parents, if you have questions, Ms. Harris's email is in the chat, so you can email her directly. If you want to, you can also put those questions in the chat box or in the Q&A box, and we'll work through those questions as we go forward through the night. But without further ado, I know a lot of parents, may have questions about tutoring and getting your kids extra help with homework and with classes. So we have with us tonight Ms. Taylor Wallace, who is the Resource Learning Center's coordinator. So she will give us an update about tutoring services and how to best support our students with their classwork and assignments. Ms. Wallace?
Yes, thank you. Hi, everybody. If I haven't met you before, like you said, my name is Taylor Wallace. I'm the coordinator in the RLC. And basically my job is to help any student who is either struggling academically or just feels like they want to get a little extra help in any class to help connect them with tutoring services that we have. So I myself am in the RLC from 7 to 4 every day, and I can meet with students who are in the building. We also have a tutor named Miss Ross, who is excellent in math and in sciences, and she's in the building Monday and Tuesday. On top of that, we have a couple of extra tutors who are actually undergrad and graduate students from Loyola, majoring in things like math and biology, who tutor for us, and it's all virtual. So that has been the most popular thing we've seen students take advantage of this past semester. We've had some really excellent conversations with students. We've gotten them connected with these tutoring services. It seemed to be really helpful. So we're going to keep going forward with that. If you or your child would like information on that, again, it's either you're struggling in a class, you're not understanding a concept, you're having a hard time motivation, or just you want a little extra help, you want to talk through some problems and make sure you're getting it right, you can go ahead and email me, and I will be the person who will be that liaison to help get you connected with a tutor, either on campus or virtually.
Thanks, Ms. Wallace. I just want to pause for a few minutes just to see if there are any questions from our parents about the RLC and services and anything like that. Of course, you can always ask those questions throughout the night, and then we'll get to those in our Q&A session. But does anybody have any questions at this moment in time for Ms. Wallace and the RLC? We'll just pause for a few seconds just to see, because I don't want us to get too far along and things to get lost. So if nobody has, yes, Ms. Wallace, she will put her contact information in the chat.
Absolutely. Don't hesitate to reach out with any questions at all.
Somebody, this is unrelated to you, Ms. Wallace, but somebody asked, is fan cloth the only way to get HT gear? Is the little shop in the school building ever open for our students to get gear and merchandise? That is a great question. So we do have the spirit store that's on the lower level of the building. At this current time, it's not open. We're not selling merchandise out of that location at the moment. I believe there's some more inventory that needs to be done of the items that we already have in there, just to be sure that we have what people are asking for. And so, you know, we're hoping that sometime down the line that we can get that back in operation. Not sure if either, just quickly, if, you know, Mr. Malloy or, you know, Mr. Bob, if you have anything to add about, you know, the spirit store in its operation.
I would say if somebody has something specific in mind that they know we've sold in the past, they could reach out to Charles, and Charles can work with you on getting that filled. But then maybe looking ahead to the future, we'll try to identify a date if there's any activity in the building where parents will be coming in to pick something up or to check in on their students. We could try to identify a date that we could take advantage of people being in the building and advertise that in advance that the store will be open. So stay tuned.
Thank you so much. So yeah, if you have any specific items that you want, you can feel free to reach out to me. Of course, I'll put my information in the chat there, and then we can work out a way in which we can get you any items that you request. Ms. Wallace, I know we just had a question that came in from someone who asks, if your child is not asking for extra services themselves, can parents request that Ms. Harris meet with them? Oh, yes. Maybe Ms. Wallace. Oh, okay, thank you for that correction. So yeah, so the person is asking that if the child themselves is, if they're not asking for additional help and services, can they just reach out to you directly and, you know, set up something for their child?
Yeah, absolutely. So if a parent is really interested in getting their child connected with tutoring services, but the child maybe hasn't gone out and asked for it themselves quite yet, feel free to email me. I can make an appointment with the student and encourage that one-on-one tutoring session. We can get them connected right away with those tutors. If the parent is really interested in that, yes, that is absolutely an option.
Okay, thank you so much. If there are any other questions, you're welcome. We appreciate the questions. So if there are any other questions, just again, feel free to put those in the chat. We'll go ahead and move right along because I know with the recent parent survey, a lot of our parents had indicated that they have issues accessing Schoology to look at student grades and whatnot. So we have our Director of Technology, Mr. Jonathan Tarasi here, who's going to talk about Schoology Assistance.
So it doesn't believe that Jonathan is here. So what I can say to that is that Jonathan, who's the director of our technology services, is putting together some snapshots and some step-by-step instructions for parents who may need Schoology training or some tips on how to access their child's grades. We've had some parents inquire about this. So we want to make sure that parents know their child's grades and if they are turning in work. This was an issue last year. We want to make sure it doesn't become an issue this year because there are students who will just go some time without turning in any work at all. We feel the parents should know that.
So stay tuned for that information. Thank you, Dr. Payton, for that. I know that there's a question that came in from Debbie Moss in the chat. If my scholars started back, how soon can it be? I'm not sure if I'm following the question. Debbie, if you can provide a little more, that would be great. But for now, while you do that, we're going to move right along in our agenda where we have, hold on 1 minute. Before we do that, a question that just came in. Some teachers are still not grading things and are marking them as received. So I still get notifications that assignments are missing, although they are not. Dr. Payton.
Yeah, so if that's happening and it looks like that might be a student, just simply email me.
Are we on mute? I don't see the option. So the way that this is set up is this is a webinar. So the people that you see on the screen right now are panelists and everybody else are attendees. So you can only see us, but we can't see or hear you. So that's why we've been saying throughout the evening that if you have questions or comments, to go ahead and put those in the Q&A or in the chat. And that way we'll read those questions out loud and hopefully get you the answers that you are looking for. I think Debbie said, how soon can they start? Scholars, I'm not sure about that.
I think that means, Charles, if they go from e-learning to hybrid model, how long will it be before they can actually come to school and be part of the hybrid model?
So they can start in the hybrid model the moment that we receive notification that that's what the parent wants to do. So for example, let's say Debbie sent me an email tomorrow indicating that she wants her child to start in a hybrid model. Depending upon which cohort she goes into, that would determine it. So if she emailed me, hey, Dr. Payton, I want my child to be in the gold cohort, Debbie, your student would start on Friday. If your student was in the blue cohort, your student would start on Monday.
Debbie, I hope that answers your question. Okay, great. You're welcome. All right. So if there aren't any other questions, we'll just go ahead and move right along in our agenda here. I'm going to introduce our assistant principal, Ms. Nara Mahone, who is going to talk to us a little bit tonight about credit recovery. Mrs. Mahone.
Yes, thank you, Charles. Good evening, HT family. It's a pleasure to be here. So we had an orientation a few nights ago for our credit recovery students. Thank you to those who have joined, attended the orientation. If you did miss it, that's okay. I am the point contact person to help your student navigate through the platform. It's called Apex. All of the students have received their username and passwords as of yesterday. If your student has not received their username or password, please contact me directly. I can reset their username and password. The whole goal of the program is for your student to complete missing credits or credits that they did not pass previously. And it's a 10 to 12 week program. It is a flexible program. It is asynchronous, so you can have your student log in at any time of the day. Apex is the name of the platform. That platform, the teacher, a live teacher, will assign the assignments for the entire 10 to 12 weeks of your program, depending on the course you're taking. So your student can work ahead of schedule or behind. My recommendation would be to work on 2 to 3 skills per day. That could be during a study hall if your child has a study hall, or it could be during workday Wednesdays. It could be on a Saturday or Sunday. But time management is key. It's really to make up those missing credits as well as to stay on top of the current schedule that they have. I am here as a support. So if your student is getting behind in lessons or classes, please reach out to me so I can help them with setting a schedule for those skills. If I have to extend the course, depending on where they are, that is okay as well. The whole goal is for your student to be successful and graduate on time. So I believe you can, Charles, if you don't mind putting my email in the chat, reach out to me if you have any questions about credit recovery. It has started as of yesterday. So all students, again, should have their email and password. You can contact me for any further questions. And don't forget the tutoring. Not only does Apex have tutoring, but so, as you've heard, Ms. Wallace in the RLC, we also have in-house tutoring as well as virtual tutoring through HT. But Apex also has live tutoring virtually. So a live teacher will pop up and assist your child. So there's many supports to make sure your child succeeds. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mahone, for that. Let's see if we have any questions. Again, we will have a Q&A session coming up in a few minutes. So if you do have questions, you can feel free to put those in the Q&A box, and then we'll get to those toward the end of our program tonight. But I want to go ahead and introduce our counselors. But before I do that, let's see what questions we have. Yes, were students informed on who has to do credit recovery? I did not hear anything, but my child failed a class last semester.
So all students that I'm aware of have had their transcripts, credits reviewed. If you feel that your child needs to make up a course because they failed a course, please reach out to me. And I can double check the credit recovery or the transcripts and see if your student needs that credit made up. But yes, to answer your question, all parents and all students were communicated with over the period of 2 weeks. So you would have received an orientation notification last week for our meeting a few days ago, as well as a username and password and a letter from Holy Trinity. Just email me if you have questions.
And Ms. Mahone's email address is in the chat, so it is there. So if you have any questions about specifics with credit recovery, you can email her directly. I want to go ahead and introduce our two counselors, Ms. Hogan and Ms. McMullen. There have been, a lot of discussions about, too much screen time and, students struggling at home with e-learning and, all the different things that go into that, and just with this whole COVID-19 pandemic. And so our counselors have been great with reaching out to our students and working with them to try to work through some of those issues. And so our two in-house counselors, Ms. Hogan and Ms. McMullen, are here tonight. They're going to be talking to us about therapy groups, as well as give us an update on course selections. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Ms. Hogan and Ms. McMullen to give us those updates.
Thank you, Charles. I know I'm on a cell phone, so I just want to make sure that everyone can hear me. Are we good?
We can hear you, yes.
Oh, okay, perfect. Sorry, I had some technical difficulties with my computer. So I'll quickly just introduce myself. I'm Maggie Hogan. I'm the counselor for both the freshmen and the juniors. And then Ms. McMullen, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kelly McMullen. I'm the counselor for the sophomores and the seniors.
So we'll quickly go over how course selection will go this year. It'll be a little different, just like everything is this year with COVID and the pandemic and being e-learning. So the process will be 100% virtual to accommodate both our in-person and our 100% e-learning students. Basically, your students will receive their class recommendations for all of the core courses. So that's math, science, English, and social studies. They're recommended by their current teachers of that class for next year's classes. They will have the chance to pick some electives, but that's also dependent on their grade level. When you are a junior and a senior, you have a little bit more flexibility in your schedule where you can pick additional electives. Freshmen and sophomores, there is some flexibility, just not as much. So yes, there will be forms sent to them through email, so make sure they're checking their email for that. They'll be sent a presentation, which kind of goes over what they need to graduate from Holy Trinity. So our graduation requirements will be in the presentation. We'll explain some stuff like honors and AP, how that affects your GPA, what's a credit, what's a half credit. So lots of good information in the presentation. They'll receive their form with their core courses recommended by their teachers, and then they'll have a space to fill out electives. That's another part of the presentation. They can click through videos that some of their teachers, and specifically the department chairs of each department, put together videos about the different elective offerings. So they're able to see if they would like it, what the class involves. And then finally, after they make their elective choices, Ms. McMullen and I will be sending out a schedule for them to have individual meetings with us. So for students who are in person, they can do that. They can go ahead and do that in school, right, in our offices. And then for students who are 100% e-learning, we'll schedule those through Google Meet virtually. And that meeting is kind of just a last double check. Hey, these are your classes. Your student will share what electives they would like to do. And then we'll kind of double check, okay, you signed up for Art 2, but you haven't taken Art 1, so you wouldn't be able to take that class. Let's look at the course offerings and pick a different one. This is also a good time for us to just talk with your student and meet with them and say, hey, what are you really interested in? What do you think you're good at? What do you want to try out? And then we can look at our course offerings and see what elective might look good with their interest and their skill set. So that's basically what we got for course registration. And with those forms, we'll need your student signature, parent or guardian signature. And then finally, once we get that back and review it all, we will sign off. And then that's ready to go for their schedule for next year. And I will say, although we do try to get students the electives that they choose, we do have a smaller master schedule because we are a smaller school. So there's no guarantee that your student will receive the electives that they choose. We try our hardest, And above all else, we always focus on graduation requirements. So if a student is picking electives and we're unable to get them, maybe their top 3 or top 4, we're unable to get them, we'll always prioritize graduation requirements. So at least, even though the class might not be what they want, it will at least mark off a graduation requirement for them. And then Ms. McMullen, do you want to go ahead and share anything else about course registration or talk about groups?
Yeah, so really quick on the course selection, I just want to emphasize the importance of the students really taking the time to watch the videos that will be in the presentation. This is their opportunity for electives to really explore new things or their interests. And this will be kind of set in stone for the next year. There'll be a little wiggle room at the very beginning of the semester, but it's really important that they watch the video so that they get the classes that they actually are interested in. And then with that said, for group counseling, we have sent out a survey to the students kind of assessing their needs. And from that survey, there were 2 different groups that we would like to form. The first group that we want to form is going to be about self-esteem, where we'll work on the students' self-confidence. And then the second group would be COVID, stress, and anxiety. And that's where we would talk about managing stress, anxiety, and everything that the pandemic has brought, especially with the e-learning and all of that. We did send out a form to all the students through email this week, and it's for them to click which group that they would be most interested in. We would love to have more students sign up, so please encourage your students to respond to the survey, especially if you know that they're struggling with e-learning, self-esteem, stress, anxiety, or even if they just want to make more of a connection with their peers and have a space every week to come and talk. They can reach out to either myself or Ms. Hogan to either join the group or to get more information on the groups. But I really encourage them to respond to the survey. It will be a good opportunity for them to kind of go through all their feelings of what's been going on this year, and then work on some skills. The sessions will also include not only peer discussion, but we'll have activities, different strategies, and anything else that group members think would be useful or fun. And then Maggie, do you have anything else you want to add to that?
No, I think that's it. I would just, again, urge, like Ms. McMullen said, to have your students check their email. One, with course registration, right? It's really important so they get the classes that they want and they know what they're recommended for. 2, with the groups, if they could please fill out that survey. But just 3 in general, I know Ms. McMullen sends out lots and lots of emails every day. I send out a lot of emails to my juniors and some to my freshmen as well. I know Ms. McMullen and her seniors, she probably emails them 5 to 10 times a day. So just really encourage your student to check their email. Ideally, it would be daily, but at least a couple of times a week, just because we send out some really good stuff and some of it is time sensitive. So just make sure that your students are always checking their email.
Okay, thank you guys so much, Ms. McMullen and Ms. Hogan. We do have a couple questions for you. We've been talking about course selection, and one person is asking, when can parents expect the information about course selection?
When can the parents expect to receive the information?
Yes.
So we communicate directly with the students. The students will receive their course registration form. Usually it's given to them in homeroom, and they bring it home to their parents. You guys go over the course selections together, you pick your electives, and then you sign and send them back. It'll be a little different this year because they will receive that form in an email. It'll look the same, right? It'll still have their core courses recommended. It'll have a spot for electives, and then it'll have a signature area for both student and parent. So that will be, let me just quickly look at my calendar. I believe it is February 12th. Does that sound
Yeah, that's
about right? Yeah, so on the 12th, they'll receive a link to the presentation and then their individual form with their course, their recommended courses.
All right. And then the other question that was asked tonight is, do counselors meet with their students on a quarterly basis to touch base? This could be done during homeroom.
Yeah, so we meet with those students. We reach out to them periodically throughout the semester. And then obviously if any social emotional issues come up or anything else, they're always free to talk to us whenever. We encourage the students who just want to stop by and it's not an emergency to come in either before school, during their lunch or homeroom period, or after school. And then with the students who are e-learning, we always meet with them through Google Meets.
One other question that had come in is, I believe this is saying recommended courses can be adjusted. Correct me if I'm not stating that right for the person who asked this question, but I believe that's what they are asking. Recommended courses can be adjusted. I think
Yeah.
that's what they're asking. Yeah.
Yeah, so we have, it's called an override process. So let's say I was recommended for regular English, and I come home and I talk with mom and dad and I'm like, you know, I think I can do honors next year. I know I can do it. I want to push myself, even though I wasn't recommended for it. I want to try it. So that would be your student coming to talk to the counselor. And then we basically just give them a form and they get some signatures. They have to talk to their current teacher, right? So it would be English. I would go and talk to my English teacher and say, oh, you know, I really want to be in honors next year. My English teacher would go ahead and talk to me about what honors English looks like. And then once we have that conversation, they would go ahead and sign off on that form. After your student speaks with their current teacher, they also have to speak to the department head of that department. So right then I would go to the department head of English, and that would be Mr. Joseph. I would talk to Mr. Joseph. He would give me another spiel about what honors English looks like, you know, make sure you push yourself, et cetera, et cetera. Mr. Joseph would go ahead and sign off on that form. Once your student receives the teacher signature, the department chair signature, and your signature, then they go ahead and return it to the counselor, and we change their core recommended courses. So that's basically how that process works. And it can go the other way. I've also had students who have been recommended for maybe all honors and AP, and they look at their schedule and they're just like, this is a little too much for me. You know, I'm in a lot of clubs, I'm in a lot of sports. I don't think I can do all honors and AP. I want to go to regular, or instead of AP, I want to go to honors. So it's either way, it's just like a level change basically. And all of that information will be sent out in that presentation that we send on February 12th.
Okay, thank you guys so much for that information. We just have another question that just came in. Will this override process be the same for e-learners, and will the time frame be adjusted?
So yes, it will be the same for e-learners. We have essentially a month until course registration is over. We've built in a lot of time this year just because we know that with e-learning, things are going to be difficult. So it'll really be placed on the student, right? They'll receive their information on the 12th, their forms, the presentation. They'll learn about the override process. And then it's up to them to contact their teacher, right? So they can do that through email. They can stay after class, right? Stay after class, I'm doing quotations, stay on their Google Meet and speak with their teacher quickly. We are going to accept like electronic signatures. So I know some of the students, they download things in Google Docs and they sign off there because we know not everyone has access to a printer. So that will also speed up the process. Their current teacher can go ahead and sign off that on Google Docs. They can share it with the department chair. They can sign off on it as well. And then finally just share it back with us. That's how that process will go. And like I mentioned, they have about a month. We are going to routinely send in reminders because, you know, they're students, they're kids. So sometimes they forget to hand things in, but we have built in a lot of extra time because we know the process will be a little more challenging being virtual.
Okay, Ms. McMullen, Ms. Hogan, thank you so much for all of that valuable information. Well, when we get to the Q&A section, if you all have any questions, just put those there, and we'll be sure to address any other questions that you may have toward the end of the program tonight. Before I turn it over to Dr. Payden, I do want to quickly, we have Mr. John Malloy, who is on the call, who is our Chief Operating Officer. One of the many things that he's responsible for is our food service program, our cafeteria program. So, Mr. Malloy, I didn't want to put you on the spot, but if there are any updates that you have to share about the food service program or the cafeteria program, please do share those for our parents.
Sure. Thank you, Charles. So one thing to note with the weather this week, we obviously didn't have in-person school on Tuesday. Tuesday would have been our pickup date for the weekly meals, where you can get a whole week's worth of meals in one stop. So we are moving that weekly meal pickup to tomorrow morning from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. So we ask that you keep in mind, we apologize for not being able to stick with our normal schedule given the snow that we had, but the weekly meal pickup for this week will be taking place tomorrow morning from 8 to 9 on Division Street. And then just as a reminder, they have extended the waivers for the food service program through the end of this school year. So any student, regardless of their income at Holy Trinity, is allowed to get a free meal. Now, that does not include everything in the cafeteria, but it does include a well-balanced breakfast or lunch. There are still extra things that a student would be charged for if they ask for it. Those would be things like cookies and Gatorades and sodas. So we ask that you take advantage of that. Great opportunities to start off your day right with a healthy breakfast as well as a healthy lunch. And it's available to all Holy Trinity students, regardless of income. So we encourage you to take advantage of that program.
Great, thank you so much, Mr. Malloy, for that. One quick question that someone had is that the pickup time is between 8 and 9. The person is asking, is there potentially another time, if that time doesn't work, that they can come and pick up meals?
So we also have community pickup times, and this is available to anybody who has a child 18 years or younger, regardless if they go to Holy Trinity. And that takes place on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. For those, we're only issuing 1 day's worth of meals rather than the whole week. But you're welcome to come during the community pickup window, which is, again, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. on Division Street. And stop by to pick up your meal if that time works better for you.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Malloy, for that, for those updates and that information. I am going to turn it over now to Dr. Payden, who is going to talk about our COVID-19 threshold, as well as the freshman retreat that's coming up, I believe, next week. And then also Saturday activities. We had the first Saturday activities this past Saturday, and it was a lot of fun. And we heard a lot of great things from parents and students alike. And Dr. Payton will talk in much more detail about that. So Dr. Payton.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Charles. We did have a great time this Saturday. I was really happy to get the parental feedback via Facebook, and I got a few emails and phone calls from some of you, so thank you. We had 42 students in the building on Saturday, each with a pathway to do weight training, physical fitness, yoga. We had a gift card game. It is so difficult to give your students money and gift cards. Please sit them down, talk to them, tell them to accept every gift card. I had a student that I tried to give a gift card to 2 weeks ago, and they said, thanks, but no thanks. Don't get it, don't understand it, but it took a lot to give those gift cards away. I have a $100 gift card on the table for essay contest, and I hope we get some more entries. But the Saturday activities were great. We are going to do it again, February 20th, the same time, 11 to 2. We're going to be adding a couple of different more activities. One will be cooking, and another one will have a movie playing in the auditorium. Movie hasn't been selected yet. I actually would like to survey the students to figure out which movie to play. So that will be happening on February 20th. In addition to that, as Charles mentioned, next week is our freshman retreat. This will be the first of 4 retreats that we're going to do this semester. We are just about all set for it, with one thing that we still have to do. Myself and Mr. Jefferson will be sending out notification to all freshman parents, in particular those of you who are e-learning parents, asking if you could RSVP for your child to attend freshman retreat. February 3rd is a Wednesday, so the entire building will be empty, and their class will have the run of the place. It'll be from 9 to 3, and we promise there will be some tears, there'll be some reflection, there'll be some spirituality, but there's going to be a lot of fun. And we are really hoping that we can get as many students, freshmen, in the building as we can. So you'll be hearing from us, particularly if you are an e-learning student. The last thing I have to discuss right now, and it is a very important piece, and that is our new COVID-19 threshold. We adjusted our threshold when we looked at some very poignant facts from last semester. Number one, students who are in an e-learning format just tend not to do as well academically. We have done as best we could to reach out, to provide services and resources. We attempted to bring many of them back in the building. We had staff meetings with you, their teachers, and some of our counselors and administrators. And although things did improve throughout the semester, we do understand that e-learners just have a tougher time academically. This is especially true if your student is a junior or a senior. We want to make sure all of our seniors graduate. We want to make sure of that. We need to make sure that if your senior or junior is e-learning right now, that they too are doing everything they can to boost their grades. Some of them really need a boost. So if we're thinking about college, if we're thinking about scholarships, we're simply just thinking about graduating. Please have that discussion and make sure they're getting what they need. The other piece to this is that we closed twice in the fall, in large part because we had 2 staff members come down with the virus. Now, I want to make sure that everyone knows no student and no faculty member came down with the virus. those in the building. The irony with e-learning and students in the building is that we had 6 students last semester contract the virus, but they were all e-learning students. The irony in that is that many parents want to keep their kids at home to protect them and their loved ones from the virus. But as far as students went, those were the students who were contracting the virus. The theory is that if you're allowing your students in the building, that they're getting socialization, they're doing it probably a little bit better in school, they're out of the house. And it seems more likely that after they get home from school, it's easier to keep them in the house. Conversely, with e-learning students, they're at home throughout the day, Monday through Friday. And perhaps many parents feel like at some point they do have to get out of the house. It's there where we feel like they may be contracting the virus, at least the 6 that we had. So please give thought to the situation in terms of attendance preference. Is my student better off at home, or should I consider bringing them in the building? Now, our threshold in the fall was if one person in the building got it, we closed. But because we shut down twice, and then after Thanksgiving, we know that's difficult for a lot of our students to do well academically. So we changed it, and we just made this decision this week. If a faculty member and or student came down with the virus in the building, that we would not close until we hit the 1% threshold, which for Holy Trinity would be 3 people. Now, it would be 3 people per 30 days. So in order for us to close, as far as students and faculty are concerned, we would have to reach 3 within 30 days to close. So for instance, if next week someone came down with the virus and we were told, we would not close, at least not right away. I've assembled a team to do contact tracing, and in that scenario, our contact tracers would go to work. And those individuals who came in contact with that infected person would be contacted and would also quarantine. And that too has changed. Last semester, the quarantine time was 14 days. That meant you had to be at home for 14 days before you came back in the building. Per CDC guidelines, that range has changed from 14 to 10. So if someone did come down with the virus, or if they had to quarantine, it would be 10 days out of the building. Now, the 2 people that came down with the virus last semester were 2 staff members, but staff members that had very little contact with students. We wanted to recognize that because we felt like we learned that if that staff member would have gone home in quarantine and had very little, if any, contact with the student or faculty or anyone else for that matter, that the building probably could have stayed open and we would have continued learning in person as we normally do. So for staff and administrators, we decided that if someone came down with the virus, that we would make a determination on a case-by-case basis. Because if it's somebody that never has any contact with any students or faculty, then we would just simply quarantine them and the building would remain open. That is our new COVID threshold. And we feel under this threshold that we have a great chance of staying open for the remaining of the semester. That's all I have. I'm going to turn it back to Charles, unless we have any questions.
Thank you, Dr. Payton. We do have a couple things. Just to go back to, I believe this person is asking about the freshman retreat next week. How do we RSVP?
We're going to send something to you, and you'll send the RSVP back to us.
All right. Another question right now is, Chicago Public Schools have difficulty obtaining purifiers and the right equipment to ensure safety. Does HT have purifiers? How are vaccines? Well, it's several questions. And I'm actually going to toss this over to Mr. Bop for those of you that may have joined us late, because I believe Mr. Bop addressed this at the beginning of our town hall tonight. So the first part of that is, do we have purifiers?
So the answer to that is enthusiastically yes. Within the last couple of weeks, we were able to purchase the Pura Shield 500, which is a perfect size for our classroom. So every classroom and every office space in the building is equipped. Those areas like the Brother Phil Center that are a little bit larger, or the fitness center that are a little bit larger than our normal classroom space, have 2 air purifiers in them. So together with our ceiling fans and the ability to have purifiers in all of these spaces, we feel there's always going to be a supply of fresh air for the students, faculty, and staff.
Thank you. And this person also had a couple other questions that sort of tie into that. So the next part is testing going to be implemented, because temperature checks can be very misleading?
I'd like to take
So,
that because,
okay, go ahead, Quincy.
well, I was contacted by a provider today regarding testing, and what they are offering is free COVID-19 testing once a week. And we're going to take a look at it because our athletes could really benefit from something like that. Given the fact that sports looks like it's going to go forward, we would love it if our athletes were tested every week before they went out to play a game. And we're hoping other schools follow suit with that. Tim, were you going to say something?
No, you got it, Quincy.
Mr. Bob, I know you, this may have been mentioned already, but another question that's being asked is, how are vaccines being prioritized with staff in the building?
It's a very timely question. I feel that we've been very fortunate. We've begun a relationship with a provider. We have our faculty and staff members that want to be and avail themselves to the vaccine. They will have the opportunity to get the vaccine this week. So I feel confident that by Monday of next week, all faculty, staff members who desire the vaccine will have had it. So we're very excited about that opportunity. And I know our faculty and staff is as well.
Okay. All right. I think we are at the toward the end of our program. This is our Q&A section of the town hall. I know we've been answering questions throughout the evening, but if parents, if you have any questions or comments about anything that was discussed this evening, please feel free to put that in the chat and also in the Q&A box. And I see something that has come in right now from Debbie Moss. She's asking, at some schools, they're swabbing students. Will our students be swabbed?
Yeah, Debbie, if we go with this provider that contacted us, they will be swabbed.
Other questions, parents, other questions that you have, please feel free. Now, understand that you may already be typing. So any other questions that you have, please feel free. This is the time to ask anything that you want to get an answer to, about anything that's happening within the school. grades, Schoology, anything at all that you have questions for, please feel free to ask those at this time. If students go back to school in person 100%, when will that be? I think Dr. Payton, you may have talked about this a little bit earlier about, I believe, if a person switches from 100% e-learning to a hybrid. But yes, if you could talk about that again.
Yeah, if you want to switch your child from e-learning to hybrid or in the building every day, just simply email me, and my email will be in the chat box.
Okay. Question about Schoology is will we keep Schoology for the next school year, or will it be a new system?
It's funny you asked that. We are looking in some new systems. However, we are probably going to keep Schoology for now.
When will students be able to use lockers?
We were strongly recommended at the beginning of the school year from the Illinois, from ISB, to not use lockers, in large part because lockers can become locations where students can gather. And so we have not used lockers. We thought about revisiting that for right now. However, the students have seemed to have adjusted. And at this point in time, there's no discussion on the table about lockers.
Ms. Wallace, this is a question for you about the RLC. Can a student just walk into the Resource Learning Center? And if so, when is the best time?
Students can just walk in, especially if they have a quick question or they want to look into getting tutoring. Like I said, we have a tutor named Miss Ross, who is, she'll be in the Resource Learning Center every Monday and Tuesday, and she's one of our math and science tutors. They can also meet with me. I'm more English and history. However, I would say the best luck a student can get is to set up an appointment with one of our tutors. And then that way they have a locked and loaded one-on-one session that they know they have set and they can plan for. And so if they want to just walk into the RLC, talk with me about that, I can help them set up that session. Or if not, they can just email me and we can get that figured out as well. So the answer is yes to that. But I would want to make sure that we are 100% meeting their needs.
Thank you. Mr. Malloy, I think this may be a question for you. One parent is asking, do we have any information regarding fees for the 2021-22 school year?
Yes, at a recent board meeting, our board of trustees set tuition for the new school year next year. So currently, Holy Trinity's tuition is $9,100, and for next year it will be $9,400. So that's an increase of $300 or $30 over a month. Most parents are paying tuition for 10 months. So that would be a difference of about $30 a month.
Okay, thank you. So students will be carrying their coats around from class to class. Let's going back to the question about lockers not being in use this semester, Dr. Payton.
Yeah, so far that's what they've been doing. To be honest with you, I haven't received one complaint about it from students. We've talked to some of our young men in regards to helping some of our young ladies with their bags, in particular those who are going up 2 flights of stairs, and I've seen evidence of that happening. If a student really did have a huge issue, we would invite them to come to the main office, talk to me about it, and we'll see if we can make some sort of accommodation.
Will the students who received academic honoring or / recognition, in addition to social media postings and postings on the school website? Wait, let me read that again. Will the students who received academic honoring or recognition, in addition to social media postings and postings on the school website? So I'm guessing the question is, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is that will there be other sort of a ceremony, perhaps, honoring students in their academic achievements?
There will be a ceremony. That ceremony will be later this semester in May. No date has been announced yet, but there will be one. All students who have achieved the principals list, high honors, and honorable mention, their name is posted outside the gym and the main office. And I do believe, Charles, we were discussing putting them on the website.
Yes, that list has been, those lists have also been posted on the website as well. So I can actually put that link to that in the chat box. Please, if let us know if that answer satisfies the question that you asked. But I believe that was it. Any other questions? All right. I think this will be a quick question. When will the next town hall meeting be?
That is Wednesday, February 24th.
So Wednesday, February 24th. And of course, we will always send a reminder of those before they happen. And where can I find the required credits needed to graduate? So someone is asking, where can they find the required classes or credits needed to graduate? Is there, I guess, a list or somewhere where those requirements are typically housed?
So,
Yeah,
oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, that's fine.
You go ahead.
I was just going to say that you can contact one of the counselors. So as Ms. Hogan was going to chime in, she's working with our freshmen and juniors, and Ms. McMullen, she's working with our sophomores and seniors. And so they can go over the credit requirements. And if you have further questions, you can also contact me.
Yeah, they're also listed in the curriculum guide. We are finalizing that up, should be by the end of the week, and it will definitely be included in that email with the students' registration forms and the presentation. The curriculum guide not only lists the graduation requirements, but it also lists all the course offerings for the upcoming academic school year.
Thank you so much. Someone had asked when the next parent club meeting is. That will be February 10th. Dr. Payton put that in the chat, and of course, information will go out about that. Do we have any other questions? Please feel free to ask those. We'll take a few more minutes for questions. And just as a quick reminder for those who parents, this meeting is being recorded and will be posted on our YouTube channel by the end of the week. So if you know of someone who could not make it tonight, as always, we do record these meetings and post them on our YouTube channel so you can review them at your own pace later on. Debbie Moss is saying no more uniforms. I think that's more of a statement than a question. And Debbie, I don't want to, misconstrue what you're saying, but it says no more uniforms. That's a question. Okay, thanks for clarifying that. So I guess the question is, no more uniforms. Well, uniforms will come back February 1st. That's what Dr. Payton said. For the last several weeks, we have been lax on the uniform policy, just as a way to, inject some energy into the school, and just as a way to welcome our students back after being gone for so long. Because before this semester started, we hadn't seen many students in person since November the 16th. So that was part of our January activities, in which we decided to do something a little, fun and spontaneous, just to inject some new energy and welcome students back. Kids have really enjoyed not wearing the uniforms. Thanks for that break for them. Yeah, that's why we did that. So thank you. Couple other questions that we have. Does HT anticipate opening up in this semester? Opening up in which way?
I think they might mean all students.
All students. Dr. Payton, I'll let you answer.
No, we'll be what we're doing for the rest of the semester.
So the current model that we have will be the model that we will use for the rest of the semester. Of course, what summer and fall looks like remains to be seen, as as vaccines begin to roll out, and those details will be forthcoming as to what the fall semester will look like. So are uniforms available? Are uniforms to purchase still available through the vendor? I believe the answer to that question is yes, through our vendor Zemski's. Am I correct in saying that, Mr. Malloy?
Yes, Zemke's is still selling Holy Trinity uniforms, and they have regular store hours, which Charles probably has posted somewhere, but it's something that you go to purchase in person. They don't have an online storefront, and it works out better that way, so you can get the proper sizes.
Yeah, we have the vendor information posted on our website. I'll include a link to that in the chat as well, so you can take a look at that, but that information is available online. Jennifer just says, I just want to say I love the variety of spirit gear for the fundraiser. I encourage everyone to check it out. Thank you, Jen, for that. We do have a wide variety of different spirit wear and items that are available to purchase, and of course, the money that is raised from that fundraiser from Fan Club will come back to Holy Trinity. So I posted a link to it in the chat. I'll post it again. So we do encourage you all to go check that out, to purchase some spirit, all in the name of Holy Trinity and supporting our students. All right. Last call for questions. Last call for questions. Any other questions that folks may have? We'll take just a couple more minutes and keep the floor open for questions. We always appreciate you all, parents, for joining us for these town halls. We think they're very informative, and so we do appreciate you, spending some time of your evening. We know that you have many other things that you have to do, so we do appreciate you spending some time with us this evening as we, update you on what's going on here at Holy Trinity, and hopefully getting you the answers that you are asking of us. Good question about service hours, because I know we've had some questions about that, but are service hours waived for this year?
Are they waived?
Yes, just given the, everything that's going on with COVID and, not being able to, yeah.
Yeah, we're not expecting service hours this year in light of COVID.
I will post the link to the Fan Cloth page just momentarily. So I'm going to post that again in the chat. But if there aren't any other questions, last call for questions. I just want to be sure that we don't miss anybody, and that you all get your questions in and we can get you the answers that you need. Of course, if they, if you have questions and that, they come up afterwards, you can, always reach out to any of us. I know some parents, email me sometimes about certain things, and, I do my best to try to redirect those questions to the appropriate people. So you can always reach out to us via email or phone, and we, of course, will get any questions or issues that you may have handled in a timely fashion. But if there aren't any other questions, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to President Bopp, who is going to just close us out with some closing remarks.
Thanks, Charles. Great meeting, everyone. Just really quickly, a few main points. You heard from the counselors from United Stand. You heard from the RLC director, Ms. Wallace. She talked about the volunteers from Loyola. She talked about Ms. Ross. She talked to our counselors. There is a lot of action here. There are a lot of people that are here for your child. But even if your child isn't struggling, there's nothing wrong with having him or her reach out and start a relationship. Have them call their counselor just to talk to them about what's going on. I think a lot of times we perceive those that need help as a weakness. It's not the case at all. I think most of us would agree that reaching out is a sort of strength to acknowledge that you need someone else and that you're not giving up. So please, parents, encourage your children to reach out to one of the many people that talked tonight. Have them have the confidence that they have someone there for them, because during this time, that's what we all need. Sports is back. Sports is back. That is going to reverberate in this building like nothing else. It brings out the spirit of the school. It also kind of fulfills, if you will, the student athlete. Up till now, it's been a lot of academics, but the sports will really give them a release. So I think that is going to make a difference in the spirit of the school. You heard from Dr. Payton about freshman retreat. There are going to be a lot of things that are going to be happening as we get control, if you will, of this COVID virus as much as we can. This is going to be a happening place. And as a result of all of the things that we talked about tonight, parents of e-learners, we'd really like you to sit down and think about whether or not this is time for your student to get back to the regular school day. We've talked about the safety features of the school. Dr. Payton talked about the record that we have had here at the school. We've talked about the air purifiers, the ceiling fans, but generally speaking, the students have been excellent in their behavior as well as their ability to follow the rules. So we understand that safety is always a concern, but parents would really like you to think about whether or not this is the time to send your student back to school. Having said that, we are blessed to have you as our parents. We are always, always appreciative of the confidence that you have in us and the choice that you have made to send your student to Holy Trinity. It is an incredibly special place, and we look forward to our next meeting together and in continuing our great relationship. For all, God bless. Have a good week, and please always think safety. Thanks, everyone. Have a great night.
All right, good night.